Well, the title of my message this morning is The Hero Within You. And my cards got a little shoveled here. There we go. That's better. Who or what is a hero? Yeah, I know. Back in New Jersey when I was growing up, a hero was another name for a submarine sandwich. Okay. But a hero is a person who is admired or idealized for their courage, their bravery, outstanding achievements, or noble qualities that we see in them. A hero is someone who encourages and inspires others to greatness through their own thoughts, their own words, and their own actions. Someone who thinks of others, someone who is supportive of others, someone who saves lives or helps to improve the lives of others. Something else about heroes is that they open doors of possibility for us when they actuate their own potential. It's kind of like what happens with Olympic athletes. They are competing against each other, and they are constantly breaking records, world records. And this is their goal. But once someone breaks a record of achievement in one area, a door of opportunity opens for others to enter. When fear and doubt are released, other athletes in that same discipline find that they too can experience the new level of achievement. There are all kinds of heroes, including those who serve in our country's branches of the armed services and military, those who are serving us now by working on the front lines and the sidelines of life as we deal with this pandemic. There are heroes who are great people, well-known people, famous people, and there are heroes who are hardly even known. Those who have inspired and encouraged us in some way by something they say, something they do. They inspire us to be more of who we are, greater expressions of God and greater expressions of good in this world. Those who are our heroes inspire us to be a little more kind, a little more loving, a little more patient, more forgiving and understanding, and they help us to change our way of thinking. They help us change the way we think about ourselves if we have the tendency to be critical and judgmental of ourselves. And they help us to change the way we think about others and the world. We learn to give others the benefit of the doubt because we know that they are expressions of God as well. The Apostle Paul said that the way that we are transformed is by renewing our mind. Romans 12:2. And so heroes help us to renew our minds. Heroes can be scientists, soldiers, teachers, musicians, artists, writers, lawyers, news correspondents, politicians, spiritual leaders, parents, pharmacy technicians, doctors and nurses, grocery store clerks, bank tellers, trash collectors. I especially think of those who pick up the trash in my neighborhood, mail clerks. Anyone can be a hero because the ultimate hero is within us. The ultimate hero is the Christ, the individualized, personalized presence of God, which Jesus affirms dwells within us. Luke 17:21, when he says the kingdom of God is within. This hero inspires us to greater understanding, to be creative. And when we express faith, intelligence, life, love, wisdom, strength, power, imagination, creativity, all of these, as well as personal will, we are expressing God-given inner qualities, qualities that the hero in us helps us to express in this world. Remember the definition. A hero is someone who is admired, someone we think of as courageous, brave, noble, honest, true, someone who encourages and inspires us to greatness through their own thoughts, words, and actions. Someone who thinks of and supports others and saves lives and helps us improve our lives in some way. I bet you can think of people in your life who are your heroes. Maybe even a parent or relative or friend. And I bet you can think of times when you were in some way a hero to another person. One instance that I thought of, and this occurred many years ago, about 30 years ago, but it made such an impression on me that I still remember it vividly. Now, I don't remember like the facial features of the individual whom I was communicating with, but I remembered what was said. Years ago, when I was the pastor of the Unity Church here in Salina, Kansas, I was serving as a volunteer clergy at St. John's Hospital's Chemical Dependency Program here in Salina by working with their clients who were going through their 5th steps in the AA program there. In the AA program, the 4th step is when those who are involved in the 12-step program must make a searching and fearless moral inventory of themselves, listing lifelong resentments and honestly attempting to find the role that they played in causing the problem and the pain in those situations. And when this is completed, then they move on to do their 5th step. And the 5th step, in the 5th step, these individuals in the program have to admit to God, to themselves, and to another human being the exact nature of their wrongs. This is a pretty difficult and scary process for many people. A young woman came to my office at the church for an appointment to do her 5th step. And she thanked me for my help and expressed gratitude for God for the freedom and the release that she experienced as we worked together on her 5th step. And she left, and I hoped that she continued and graduated from the 12-step program. But I hadn't seen her again, so she was just someone that I was able to help, and I was grateful to be able to assist her. Several years later, though, I attended a wedding of some friends of mine, and she was there. She was a friend of the groom. Now, I didn't recall what she looked like, okay? And, I didn't even recall her name. I've been through so many of the 5th steps here, okay? And it really wasn't about me, it was about her and her process. So I didn't even realize that she was there at the wedding, but she spotted me and she came over to me, and because I didn't remember her, she reminded me that years earlier I had worked with her on her 5th step in my office. And that brought back a lot of memories. And she told me something that I will never forget. She said, I'm choked up even now, okay, remember? She said, "You are the only one who had ever shown me unconditional love." And we both shed some tears over this, and we hugged each other. But, happy tears, okay? It was happy for her. She'd gone on with her life and been successful. I felt about 10 feet tall as I quietly thanked God for the gift that I was able to share with this young woman. And I'm still grateful for this experience some 30 years later. Being a hero, it makes you grateful that you can make a difference. However it is, you can make a difference. And things that seem very small to us can be huge for someone else. Now I'd like to share with you about another hero, Myrtle Fillmore, who, with her husband Charles, founded Unity. I would not be here as a Unity minister, and you would not be here present at this Unity service if it weren't for Myrtle Fillmore. So I consider Myrtle a hero. She made a huge discovery which changed her life and all of ours. Myrtle Fillmore and Charles Fillmore got married and had some children, okay? But Myrtle still suffered during childhood. She had contracted several illnesses and diseases, and some of these were hereditary. And she lived with these all of her life, and things began to get worse. Her health began to deteriorate during her marriage to Charles. And so Charles and she began to look for help for Myrtle's conditions. They attended a talk by E.B. Weeks, and from that talk, that lecture, and I believe this was in Kansas City, Myrtle came away with a new thought. Prior to this time, and growing up, she was always considered to be sickly, a sickly child, and I think others kind of felt sorry for her, that she was dealing with so much as a child and as an adult. And she herself thought that way about herself. But something in this lecture caught her attention. It was something that the speaker said. And she came away with the idea that she said, I realize that I am a child of God, and therefore I don't inherit sickness from my divine parent. And that little thought from a hero turned her life around as she began to ponder what that meant to be a child of God. We are children of God, or expressions of God. Same thing, okay? And she began to realize that her body, everything in life, is a part of God. God's intelligence, wisdom, understanding, all of these qualities, they are around. They are in everyone. They are in our body. Our body is filled with the life of God. And this life contains wisdom, intelligence. And she began to reason, what is the difference between the body of an animal or the body of a human being? And she thought to herself that human beings are more conscious. And with our thoughts, we can influence our bodies. And she began to work with this thought. And prior to this, she had often condemned her body. She had often thought of it as puny, diseased, sick. But she began thinking about using words of life. In Myrtle's own words, she said, I have made what seems to be a discovery. I was very sick. I had all the ills of mind and body that I could bear. Medicine and the doctors ceased to give me relief, and I was in such despair. I found practical Christianity. I affirmed my beliefs, and I was healed. This is how I made what I call my discovery, she said. She said, I was thinking about life. Life is everywhere. And then I thought that it is intelligence within us that influences our physical bodies. Here is the key to my discovery, Myrtle said. Life can be guided by intelligence in making form. The same law that we use to make things in our outer world, we use to remake our bodies. Life, she said, is simply a form of energy, and it can be guided and directed in a person's body by his or her intelligence. And how do we communicate intelligence? By thinking, by talking, of course, she said. She said, then it flashed on me that I could talk to the life in my body, and I could have it do just what I wanted. So I began to teach my body what I needed it to do, and I got marvelous results. I told the life in my liver that it was not torpid or inert, but full of vigor and energy. I told the life in my stomach that it was not weak or inefficient, but energetic and strong and intelligent. I told the life in my abdomen that it was no longer infested with ignorant ideas of disease, put there by myself and by doctors, but that it was alive with the sweet, pure, wholesome energy of God. I told my limbs that they were active and strong. I told my eyes that they expressed the sight of spirit, and that they were drawing on an unlimited source. I told them that they were young eyes, clear, bright eyes, because the light of God shone in them. I told my heart that the pure love of the Christ flowed in and through its beatings, and that all the world felt this joyous pulsation. I went to all the centers in my body, she said, and I spoke words of truth to them, words of strength and power. And I asked their forgiveness for the foolish, ignorant course that I had pursued in the past, when I had condemned them and called them weak, inefficient, and diseased. I did not become discouraged at their being slow to wake up, but I kept right on, both silently and aloud, declaring words of truth until the organs in my body responded. And neither did I forget to tell them that they were free, unlimited expressions of God. I told them they were no longer in bondage to the carnal mind. They were not corruptible flesh, but centers of life and energy. And then I asked God to forgive me for taking its life into my body and using it in error. I promised that I would never again retard the free flow of that life in my mind and in my body by false words, thoughts, and actions which are harmful. I promised I would always bless my body and encourage it with true thoughts and words about its wise work of building my body temple. I would use diligence and wisdom, telling it just what I wanted it to do. I also saw that I was using the life of God in thinking thoughts and speaking words, and I became very watchful of what I thought and what I said. I chose to not let worried or anxious thoughts into my mind, and I stopped speaking gossipy, frivolous, petulant, angry words. I let a prayer go up every hour that the Christ, that presence of God in me, would help me to think and speak only kind, loving, true words. And I'm sure that God did, because I am so peaceful and happy now. And I want everyone to know about this beautiful, true law and how to use it. Myrtle said, it is not a new discovery, but when you use it and you get the fruits of health and harmony, it will seem new to you, and you will feel that it is your own discovery. Myrtle's healing was not instantaneous. It took about 2 years for her to be completely well. But as her health and her life improved, others noticed and began coming to her to find out how she did it, what she was doing to heal her body. When her husband Charles saw the improvements that Myrtle was making, he began to use the same process and technique that she had devised. Instead of speaking harshly and negatively to the cells, the nerves, the muscles in his body, he began to use positive, life-affirming affirmations or statements and spoke to the life in his body, the cells in his body, commending them for working as they were supposed to. And he experienced improvements in his health as well. Those who knew that Myrtle was ill began approaching Myrtle and Charles and wanting to understand the ideas that they were using. And the Fillmores began teaching. In response to the growing number of people requesting information and help, the Fillmores began writing a paper and then a newsletter to answer questions and to share insights and techniques with those who wanted them. Soon they were being asked to write a publication, and this publication became Unity Magazine. And they created opportunities for prayer support of their new students by creating what they called Silent Society, the Silent Society. And this became known as Silent Unity, our 24/7 free prayer ministry, which continues today. Anyone can call, and ministers there will pray for you over the phone, right then and there. Positive, affirming, life, productive ideas. Myrtle was a hero to many in her day, and through her teachings and the founding of the Unity movement of Christianity, she is a hero today. Through her courageous, steadfast work on herself to achieve healing, she modeled this possibility for many others. She raised the bar of what we understand can be achieved by her own achievement, her own demonstration of healing, her new thoughts, the actions, and the attitude that she created, which created her new reality. She broke out of the prison of her past, which had offered her little hope of survival. And so it is for each of us. If we choose to live courageously and consciously, we can make possibilities possible. Because the hero is within us. In his book, You Are the Placebo, Making Your Mind Matter, Joe Dispenza wrote, "Your same thoughts, actions, and feelings will keep you enslaved to the same past personal reality. However, when you, as a personality, embrace new thoughts, new actions, and feelings, you will inevitably create a new personal reality for your future." This is what Myrtle did. She completely turned her thoughts around, and she flooded her consciousness with a new understanding about healing, about the life of God in her body. Now, we can use this same technique that Myrtle used to heal our physical body. And healing takes place in so many different ways. Sometimes just experiencing a feeling of peace when we have been distraught and upset and worried and angry and resentful is a healing. And also there is, of course, the healing of the physical body. But again, healing takes many shapes and forms. Okay? And the hero in us can help us experience this healing, can guide us and direct us in what we can do, what affirmative words we can use to speak of this life, to encourage and inspire this life in us. And we can be an inspiration to others as they see us shining this inner light out. As we improve our lives in some way, we help to encourage them to make improvements in their own lives. And so, as Myrtle was a hero to herself and a hero to all of us, we can be heroes to others. We can begin to think differently about what is troubling us. Take a problem or a situation that troubles us, something that we need guidance in and a sense of direction, okay? And we can begin working with new thoughts, new ideas, affirmations that lift us up and inspire us. And speaking this to the problem, to the situation. The presence of God is in us, but the presence of God is also not only in the midst of us, but in the midst of the challenge, in the midst of the problem we're dealing with. And so we can speak to that presence in the midst of the problem we are dealing with. And inspire it, encourage it, and uplift it, and experience healing. And so let's join in a time of meditation right now. As we think about how Myrtle healed her body and taught others how to bring healing into their experiences by being this hero, this courageous person. We know that the hero within us endows us with everything that we need to be the hero in our own life, to experience moving through challenges and difficulties and experiencing the healing that we need, whether it's a healing of relationships, a healing of our pocketbook and finances, a healing of our attitude. This hero in us provides us the guidance and direction as we turn within. And so let's turn within right now as we breathe and relax and turn the focus of our attention within. And as I speak these words, if you're comfortable, affirm them to yourself. I let go of worry and anxiety as I turn to the hero within me, the Christ within me, the aspect of God that indwells me, that is the only presence and power in my life and in my world. And as I turn to this presence and power, I open to its guidance and direction. I let the hero in me inspire me, encourage me, support me, lift me up. And I let this hero self in me express through me as I find ways to encourage, inspire, uplift, and support others in my life in the ways that I am able to. And take a moment to see yourself as the light of your own world and the light of our collective world. I am the light. Jesus said we are the light of the world because he saw this hero within each of us. And now as we see this light within us, we see the hero self in us. And we can affirm, I choose to let this hero self express in me, as me, and through me in my world. Breathe that awareness into every aspect of your body. I let the hero in me inspire, uplift, and support me, and bring healing into my experience. And I let the hero in me express through me, touching the lives of others with whom I come in contact. I open to guidance as to how I can inspire, uplift, and support others. And I'm so grateful for this awareness. Thank you, God. And now bring your awareness back. You might like to take several deep breaths and move your body around a bit. Okay? Become aware of the sounds around you, and when you are ready, open your eyes. And return
Thank you,
here
everyone.
and now.
God bless you.
And so at this time, we're going to go ahead and sing together. Peace.
Thank you, everyone. God